or be influenced in what I have to say. Anybody else don't like selling, don't like doing that uncomfortable situation? I don't. And tonight, when I break down the secret key ingredient to making sales without pitching or selling, you'll see that you're able to sell whatever you want. Now, the reason for this training, this topic tonight, is I was coming back from Scotland on Saturday morning, and some of the audios I chose to listen to on the way back was from Eugene Schwartz. If you don't know that guy, check out his stuff. He said he was the hardest working man in copywriting. He only worked 2 hours a day. And he wrote Breakthrough Advertising, a book that now costs $500-600 to get an original of. He's one of the forefathers, the founding fathers of copywriting, a guy who went on to sell billions of dollars worth of stuff for him and his clients. And the first thing that he said on the audio was everything that you have to do inside of your marketing is shift from selling, channel demand. So in your email, in your Facebook Live, in your sales video, in any piece of content or copy that you are crafting to sell something, to make someone want to give you money, instead of think about selling the person, channel demand. Is that an aha for anyone? It was an aha for me when I was sitting on the plane on the way back from Scotland. Even though Layla and I've sold tens of millions of dollars of stuff over the past 9 years, even though we've personally made millions of dollars in commissions, we've written sales letters and webinars that have done 100,000 in an hour and all these crazy numbers. When I heard him say, shift my mindset from selling to channeling demand. Because if you think about it, the sale comes naturally. Sale comes from your audiences. It's their idea. When your copy channels demand that they just can't live without your product or service, the sale is inevitable. Do you get that? Do you follow me? It's freaking powerful. When you shift your thinking from what can I say in a live, what can I say in a training to sell this person on joining me, buying this thing, whatever the case may be, if you switch that to what can I put inside this body of copy to make it so irresistible that I am channeling so much demand that this person just has to whip out the credit card and buy whatever it is that I'm talking to them about because they just can't live without it. Have you ever bought a product or a service or something where you thought at the end of it, where you bought it, I just can't live without this? The demand is so high for what it is that you have. Now it becomes painful for the person not to buy it. You get that? You've channeled so much demand for your copy, for your words, for your emails, for your Facebook Lives, that you're making it impossible for that person not to buy. So the biggest thing I want you to write down right now, the first takeaway, channel demand. So shift from selling, shift from what can I do to make the sale, shift to the mindset of what can I put down either in written form or in spoken form to channel as much demand as possible so that person just has to buy. They can't think of another thing to do. It will be so painful for them to miss out on my opportunity, on my product, on my service. It's freaking powerful, okay? Please shift your thinking. You'll be able to sell without selling. Another secret ingredient for you to be able to make sales daily without selling, without pitching, without annoying people. And again, this isn't just talking about writing a sales presentation. This isn't just talking about writing an email or doing a Facebook Live. This is stuff that you can be doing face-to-face with people in your day-to-day life. You can be doing this with relationships with your kids. You can be doing this with the influence and persuasion factors with the relationship with your spouse. If you work in sales in your day-to-day job, you can be increasing the money you take home if you work on any sort of commission-based stuff by utilizing these different methods. So number one takeaway was shift from selling to channel demand. Number two, make your copy create emotion. Someone will not buy from you if you do not create emotion inside of them. Why do we want to create emotion? Even in the word emotion is what we want to happen. We want motion to happen. We want to move someone. Inside of your content, all you're ever doing is helping your audience go from point A to point Z, right? And you're talking about the milestones that happen in your life. So your emotion creates motion to help your prospect solve whatever problem that they have. Dawn was talking about a few minutes ago, shift your selling into solving problems, which is very true. The more that you can shift to help your prospect move one more step up the ladder, so to speak, or one more move forward for them getting their results, the more money that you'll make in your business. How does that all start? It starts with emotion. How do you create emotion? Well, it's easy to create emotion or an emotional response inside of your audience when you focus on pain. Why is that? You and I, as human beings, our entire life boils down to what two things? Our entire life boils down to avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. Every choice that we make, even if on the surface it's like, well, I'm not doing that to avoid pain, or I'm not doing that to seek pleasure, it can be distilled down to these two primitive, primal things that we do inside of our entire life. We move away from pain, we move towards pleasure. Now, what one do you think is the biggest motivator for people? Pleasure or pain? You would think, oh, pleasure. No. Pain, pain, pain. That's why, as copywriters, as marketers, as business owners, we want to lead with the pain primarily nearly every single time, because it's going to catch our audience attention before we talk about pleasure. So let's say for this example that we are talking about promoting the Lifestyle Freedom Formula to make those $3,000 commissions. And our target audience is going to be someone who's done network marketing before and they failed, and now they want to do something digitally, where they want to have a digital business, which isn't network marketing, it's direct sales or affiliate marketing or whatever. So what pain points would I be talking about to my target audience? Well, knowing that my target audience tried MLM or network marketing and failed and they hated it, one of their pain points could be cold calling. So we could do phone sales, or we could say cold call, or we could talk about how they say the NFL Cup. No friends left club, right? What other pain points could we list here? And what you want to do is you want to have this sort of bank, so to speak, of pain points that your target audience has gone through or is currently going through. So you can, in your copy, in your email, in your Facebook Lives, these are going to be topics that you speak about in your copy. Hook them in with the pain, and then we're going to be talking about the desired outcome. Awkward three-way calls with your upline. So let's put three-way calls. So if one of my pain points is targeting people who want to transition from network marketing to affiliate marketing or high ticket, I could talk a story or a blurb or a Facebook Live about the awkwardness of three-way calls and how I've left that behind. And now all I do is a simple 5-minute Facebook chat to make a $3,000 commission. No friends left, pain point, desired outcome. I don't even have to speak to my friends or family in order to build this business. Cold calling, I generate my own leads who are eager to talk to me, who want my information, who are already pre-sold on what I have to say. Phone sales, I no longer pick up the phone. So inside of your copy, this is kind of like a yin and yang, a seesaw, a cause and effect, a push and pull, so to speak. You want to be hammering out as many pain points that your target audience has as possible, and at the same time you want to let them know if they follow you, that pain point will be eliminated, and now the desired outcome of what you want, the dream lifestyle that you're after, the dream body, whatever the case may be, better relationships with your spouse, whatever it is that you're selling, the opposite of the pain point that they want to get away from is on the other side, and desired outcome that you can show them once they buy your stuff, subscribe to you, or whatever it is that you're selling. Does that make sense? You follow me? The fastest way to make sales without selling is to create emotional pieces of content, Facebook Lives, emails, sales scripts, yada, 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 that take someone from where they're at mentally right now to where they want to be, showing them their result. You follow me? Another thing I want to talk about on this slide right here, move inside of your copywriting, whether you're talking about writing an email or a sales webinar or a Facebook post or a Facebook ad or whatever. I want you to focus more about not what your product is, we're focusing on what it does. So rather than have a piece of content hammering out the details of every single thing that your product is, we want to focus more on what it does for your audience. Does it save them time? If it does save them time, what are some of the things that they could be doing with their time? If I was marketing a training course on how to generate leads on Facebook, rather than me telling them all the specifics of every single thing that's in the course and how they access it and what the website it's hosted on. Now, those things are important, but just a quick mention of them. I would be focusing more on utilizing my Facebook marketing system. They're able to generate 30 qualified leads a day. That's good, but what does that mean for them? If they're able to generate 30 leads a day, they'll be able to make hopefully, 1 to 3 sales per day. If they're able to make 1 to 3 sales per day, then guess what? They could probably work 1 to 3 hours less every day. If they're able to let's just say 5 hours a week, I've just saved them 5 hours a week. So if they're able to follow my system, generate these leads, I've now saved them 5 hours a week. I'm not focusing on what my system or my product is, I'm focusing on what it does. But go deeper than that. Actually talk about the things that your prospect could do in those 5 hours that they've now won back. Do they like to golf? Do they have kids? Do they like to write music? What are some of the passions? Do they want to travel? What are some of the passions that your audience might have that they now are able to tap into 5 extra hours in the week? So stop talking about what your product or service is. Start focusing on what it does for your prospect at a deep, deep level. Always go deeper. Quick recap. First thing we want you to focus on is shifting from selling to channeling demand. All you do inside of your marketing is to channel demand for your product or your service or your offer. Don't make it about selling that person on buying it. Focus on channeling so much demand that that person feels so obligated. If they don't buy, they're going to be in so much pain because they don't. Second thing I want you to focus on is creating emotion in your copywriting, creating emotion in your Facebook Live, creating emotion every single time that you do anything in your business. Take a second and think about the pain points that your audience has, write them out, and think about what the desired outcome is of that person that you can help solve that pain point. So pain point number 1, cold calling. I can show them how to never have to pick up a cold call or phone again. That's the desired outcome. Actually list these bad boys out. The third thing I wanted you to focus on was, rather than talking about what your product or service is, we now shift to what it does, and more specifically, what it does, the hidden benefits for your target audience, okay? Last thing I want you to talk about here is what's called an empathy map. I don't think I've actually ever come across a person who's done an empathy map properly and that it's not actually positively impacted their business. What is an empathy map? Okay, it is a simple process that you can do by yourself where you sit down and you use this funny looking chart, image, diagram thing that basically lays out. So I want you to get your target audience. So if you, let's say for an example that I am targeting women 30 to 50. So I'd go to Google and I'd type in women 30 to 50. I'd get an image, I'd download it, and then I'd have it. If I was doing this off the computer, I'd actually paste it right in the middle of my empathy map. So I would put it on my desktop. Okay, now that I have this woman, I'm going to name her Jane. And I'm going to go in and talk about, okay, what does Jane do? She works at this profession. okay? And she has 2 kids, and she has a husband. Okay, cool. I know these kind of little details are now the outline of what I want to do and go in and craft this empathy map. I actually want to think about Jane's day. Now, I would recommend going deeper into the profile, the customer avatar profile of Jane, and get really deep on the details. But for right now, we're only talking about the empathy map. And what I want you to do is go to Google, type in empathy map, download it, and do this exercise, okay? What do we do with this empathy map? Once we know we're targeting women, men or women, and an age range, and we've got the name, we've got a picture, and we know roughly what she does, now I want you to come in and think about Jane's day. What does she hear? So what do her friends say? What do her boss say to her? What do influencers or brands say to her? What does her spouse say to her? What does she say to herself? What are the things that she is hearing in the day? Okay? I want you to write out 20. Now, if you say, this is the way that I've learned how to do this, and it makes it easy for people to imagine this kind of stuff. So let's say that Jane, when she wakes up in the morning, the first thing that she hears is an annoying alarm clock. Because she's not able to sleep in because she has to wake up and do extra work before she gets to, has to wake the kids up and her husband up to get ready for the day. So she hears an annoying alarm. What does Jane then think and feel because of this annoying alarm? Well, she might think that she wants another hour's sleep, and she might feel frustrated. She might think that she wished she had a better life, and she might feel guilty that she's not giving that to her kids. She might feel tired. She might feel extremely tired and start to think that she wishes there was a better way, a different way. What are her worries, her aspirations? What really counts to Jane? What's her major what's her major things that she's seeing in her day? What's getting in her, what's been a roadblock for her? Write down 20, okay? Same scenario, she hears the alarm, she thinks she wishes she had a better life, and she feels ashamed and guilty because she can't give it to her kids. What does she see? Maybe she sees her husband still sleeping soundly and she resents him because she has to go downstairs early, or vice versa. Maybe she sees the environment of the house. It's not clean and tidy and she wishes it was, which then causes more pain, frustration, guilt, resentment and stuff. Now, what does she say and do about it? Maybe she doesn't say anything. Maybe she doesn't do anything, and that builds more frustration, resentment. Okay? So I want you to write out 20 in each of these, and by doing that, you will start to build up this emotional bank, so to speak, an arsenal. So when it's time to go and write an email, write a sales letter, turn on the camera and do a Facebook Live, speak to a prospect one-on-one, write a Facebook ad, whatever the case may be, you now have this emotional arsenal of information to talk about and weave into your story to create motion. When you use all of these things from the empathy map and you write with emotion, you move Jane from someone who maybe saw a Facebook ad about a better way of life before and didn't click, to the Jane who now sees a Facebook ad about a better way of life that's filled with emotion, and you now take her through to clicking on that, reading it, opting in, and maybe buying. Does this make sense? You guys, is this lighting any light bulbs for you? It's freaking deep, powerful stuff, but it's the difference between being able to sell without selling and make commissions without pitching. So 20 different things inside of each of these parts of the empathy map, and then I want you to write out 10 things in the pain and gain chart. So 10 things that causes Jane pain, and 10 things that Jane wants to gain that will cause her pleasure. Can you do that? When you do this stuff, when you get out of your own heart and into the heart and mind of your prospect, everything starts to change. Because now it's not about you and your feelings and your desires. Because guess what? Jane couldn't care less about those things. Jane cares about what herself, her family, her needs, and her desires, as she should. So it's on you, the smart business owner, the smart marketer, get out of your own BS, to get out of your own head and your own heart, and go into Jane's, or whatever your target audience is called, whatever your customer profile is you've developed. Because then when you shift away from selling to channeling demand, when you make it about them and not yourself, when you speak about what your product does for them specifically and not what it is, when you list these pain points and talk about their core desires and what they want, when you talk about the pains that's keeping them awake at night, when you talk about the gains that makes them feel pleasurable, you join the movie that's going on in their head. Does that make sense? Do you follow that? You no longer are just talking about something in a different language. You are now talking you are now speaking the exact language that's going on in their head. When Mark showed us this, the customer avatar stuff way back, we would get people messaging us all the time saying, it's like you're in my head. You're reading my mind. I could relate so much to what you said. And then when that happens, make sales without selling. People give you money without pitching.